Hey guys, welcome back to the Smash Property Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the only way you can actually build wealth in property. If you're new, my name's Nick. I'm the founder and director of the Smash Property Buyers Agency. But before I was a buyer's agent, before I was a property investor, I actually worked in the banking industry for the better part of 2 decades. Had a whole bunch of different roles whilst I was working at the bank. One of the ones that's relevant is I was actually writing loans for some very high net worth individuals that were investing in both residential and commercial property. And this was way back in like 2009, 2010. And it was through those relationships and conversations it really started to click for me like, okay, property, you can make some serious wealth out of property. You do need a game plan. You do need to have the right strategy, but it is possible. And that's when I started investing in property myself. And I managed to build an $8 million portfolio in 5 years. So the information I'm going to go through is things that I've actually done myself, or seen other people around me do it very, very closely. Now, let's just dive straight into this because most people think that buying a house makes you wealthy. It doesn't. The reality is you need to have the following 2 things in order for you to build wealth in property and build it effectively so you can actually reap the rewards in as quick a time fashion as is realistic for your circumstances. Now, everyone's different. Everyone's got different plans, goals, incomes, desires, needs, wants, everything, right? So this is why I'm very big on making sure that my strategy might not fit you, right? Everyone, like I said, is unique. So we need to build, or you need to build, if you're doing it yourself, a unique strategy that fits your specific circumstances. So here's how you can build wealth in property. And this is what not many people are going to talk about. Number 1, the only way for you to actually build wealth in property is you need to have income to support the debt that you are using to fund the purchase of the properties. Now, if you're a cash buyer, this won't apply. Cash buyers are few and far between. They've likely sold a business, sold multiple properties, and they're here. But for the average person out there, that was me and a lot of the clients that we deal with, you need the income to be able to support the growing debt that you're going to take on. Now, yes, we can buy, inside of trusts and we can do all these sorts of things. That doesn't completely eliminate the need for you to have serviceability with the banks. So, in my circumstance, I got to an $8 million portfolio because I had a $300,000 income or over $300,000 working a 9-to-5 job, right? So if I didn't have that income, I wouldn't have been able to buy as many properties as I was able to do. Now, that being said, you don't need to have a $300,000 income to buy a multiple property portfolio. But if you're in that sort of 1 to 200K bracket, it is definitely achievable for you. Now, obviously, if you've got kids and you've got other debts and all these sorts of things unique to you, that is going to impact your serviceability. But just to sort of, we keep things real here. There's no smoke and mirrors. This is whatever I'm talking about is actually happened, right? So you've got to have the income. Now, you might be sitting there going, oh, fuck, I'm only on 60, 70, 80K. You can still do it. I mean, we've helped a single mum on 50 grand get into a second investment property. It is possible, but this is where plan and strategy comes into it. So you might be sitting there going, oh, I'm only on under 100K. So was I. I was on 50K at one point. But what we do is over time, what would be multiple years, we slowly but surely increase our income. And if it means you've got to change industries, like I had to, I was a council worker at one point, found a way to get into the bank, got into the bank, started moving up because I realized, hey, if I do this, I get promoted, I work hard here, I get extra bonuses, etc. And slowly but surely over many, many years, you start working up to a higher income. As soon as you get a higher income, make sure your lifestyle doesn't inflate with it. So whenever I got a pay rise, promotion, bonus, I'd go back to the broker, say, hey, this is what the new income looks like. What does my serviceability look like now? A lot of times it was like, hey, yeah, cool. You can actually buy another property here. Use the equity from the property that I bought or property that I already own. Use that as the deposit. Use my new income as the serviceability, and then we continue moving forward like that. That is really the only way that you're able to realistically grow a portfolio in today's day and age. That's number one. Number two, the only way you can really build significant wealth in a reasonable time frame is doing the property acquisition needs to be compressed into a shorter time span as realistically possible for you. Like for me, it was over a 5-year period I was able to do that. But that doesn't mean that you need to do it in 5 years. It can take 10, it can take 15, whatever's realistic for you, right? But the sooner you buy these properties, as short a time span as you possibly can, the more the wealth is going to condense in the background or compound in the background. Because I see a lot of people where they trip up, they'll buy a property, they've got tons of serviceability. Like they could buy 4 properties in one go, but they're like, oh, I'll just see. Like I'll buy a property and then I'll wait. I'll see what the market does. I'll wait, 12, 24 months and then I'll go again. And yet everyone's got a different risk appetite, again, different goals, different plans, all sorts of things. But if the name of the game is building wealth, what are you fucking waiting for? Just get in, bang, 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 as quickly as you possibly can. And that wealth will compound in the background. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that property is the only way and it's always going to go up, because it's not, right? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but looking at history, it's a pretty good indicator of where things are going to go. We do have little market fluctuations here and there, but when you zoom out over a 30, 40, 50-year period, property prices only do this, right? And you might be going, yeah, well, they can't go up forever. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they can't. But look at the system and how the system is designed. And I've done another video on that probably about a month ago. The system is designed to inflate the currency over time. The currency inflates in value and the perceived value of property increases with it. And the most important thing that you need to remember is that you pay today's debt with tomorrow's inflated dollar, right? The inflation erodes the value of debt. So the sooner you can understand that, as long as we have the system that we have, hey man, properties is going to be a very secure way to build wealth over a long period of time. So to recap, you've got to increase your income slowly but surely over time. You don't need to be $200,000-$300,000 today. You could be on 50, 60, 70 today. You can still get a property, and then slowly but surely as the years progress, you can increase your income, whether you work, longer hours, whether you change industries into a more high-paying industry. Like I had to. There's ways to work around this world, right? Just because you're in a position now doesn't mean that's the position that you're going to have to stay in. Just keep that in mind. Income is the most important thing. Second thing, compressing the acquisition phase is second to your income, right? You can only go as fast as your income will allow. But having that acquisition as short a time as possible, you'll really start to be like, fuck, you buy one property, you get maybe a couple of $100,000 in equity in a year or two if you're lucky. But imagine having 4 or 5 of them growing in, $200,000 every 12, 18 months. Your wealth compounds exponentially. And then the cool thing about property is the cash flow side of things. Whilst you might be buying a slightly negatively geared property today before tax, that cash flow position improves the longer you hold the property, because rents, when you're buying in the right areas, as we do, rents slowly but surely increase over time. So the properties that were negatively geared for me, 5 years ago, they're now neutral, if not positive cash flow. And they're in high growth areas. So it's like you get that double edge, that double whammy, as we like to see it. So that's how, that's really the only way you can actually build some serious wealth in property. The only way that I've seen. Now, again, everyone's got a different starting position. If you've got a lot of capital to start, there are other ways in which we can attack that. Maybe cash flow is the name of the game, and maybe commercial property might be for you. Maybe you like the reno and flip type of scenario. Maybe you like the dual income type of scenario. Again, everyone's unique. So strategies that worked for me might not apply to you, and strategies that worked for these investors that have, 50, 100, 150 properties, as motivating as that is, and inspiring as that is, we've got to put into context, when did those investors buy those properties? Because a lot of those investors actually bought those properties before 2018. Now, what happened in 2018? There was a regulation change, right? APRA's lending criteria was different before 2018. So you really it was sort of like the Wild West of lending, where a lot of these investors were investing in 2015 to 2018. They were able to buy multiple properties because the lending criteria was different. We're in a different lending space now. So what worked back then ain't going to work now. So this is why, and this is what these guys don't talk about. They flash their massive portfolios, and it's fucking motivating because I'm like, hell yeah, that's mad. But for average people watching that don't know the backstory of how the banking system works and what's happened, go, oh, well, fuck, there's no way I'm going to get I can't even get one, let alone 150. Oh, I just won't bother. So we've got to just put everything into context, and don't let it be an unmotivator for you, or whatever word that unmotivating. Yeah. So here's some common things that you can avoid, where I see tons of people get tripped up. Over-analysing deals now, or over-analysing stuff in general, right? Trying to chase hotspots. Doing your research and analysing data and information, key part of the journey, right? Never going to say don't do research. Where I see people get mixed up is they do all this research, they might watch a ton of potties, and they'll start to hear the sentiment about, like, Melbourne as an example right now. At the time of filming, it's like the speculator's dream. Everyone's like, oh, Melbourne's like the next thing, like we got to get into Melbourne because that's going to be the next market to take off. And yeah, it might. It also might not, because no one knows what's actually going to happen, right? No one really knows. You'll have all these people looking at crunching the data and the numbers and all this sort of thing. They're just speculating. They don't have a magic wand or, a crystal ball to go, yeah, cool, Melbourne is the next Perth. So if you want to buy in Melbourne, buy in Melbourne. Don't wait for the market to start doing its thing. Buy in Melbourne. If you want Melbourne, buy in Melbourne right now. Know all the things that go along with that. The market is very flat, has been flat for a very long period of time. The land tax component eats away at your cash flow. The yields outside of the land tax are already very, very low. So as long as you can analyze and be comfortable with all of that, buy in Melbourne, don't wait. So we've just got to, just get out of this speculative mindset and go, if I want to be a property investor, I need to actually own a property. Right? For me to build wealth, I need to own a property now. I don't need to wait and fucking all this sorts of stuff. Do it now. So that's where I see people get tripped up. They get into this speculative mindset. They see all these hotspot things on social media and YouTube and all these sorts of things, and they get caught out. And buying markets when it's already started to peak and all this sort of things. I put out a post, I think, this week where as you know, it was an email that went out to some of our clients. We're buying in markets that are flat. We're buying in markets where it's peaked, right? But the reason why we're doing that comfortably and we're making money out of it is that we are finding value in markets that have peaked, right? Because we don't care about short-term market fluctuations. We're in it for the long term. So I'll give you an example. Brisbane's had a ton of growth. A lot of experts would say, don't buy in Brisbane because it's had its thing. It's blah, 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 blah. But if I'm buying in Brisbane and I'm buying a property under 650,000, that's a great deal. In a capital city location on a massive block of land, there's value add potential. Properties in the area are selling for closer to 700. That is a good deal, right? So get out of trying to find the right market zone and just get into identifying a good deal when you see one, because there are loads of them out there. It doesn't have to be in these speculative markets. There are tons of good deals out there. You've just got to be able to spot them. Again, where I see a lot of people go wrong. Another area where people go wrong is they just don't have a plan. I'm just going to buy a property, I'm just going to do it. That's just great. Do it. But you got to, as I said in the beginning, everyone's circumstance is specific and unique. Everyone's goals are different. So your property's got to serve you in some way. You can't just buy and then wait and, whatever. You'll do okay, but you'll be much better off if you had a targeted specific plan. Property 1 gets property 2, gets property 3 and 4, gets me to my goal. So have that overall plan, have that strategy. Now, working with us, we do all of this for clients. We don't just find the property and fucking see you later. It's, hey, who are you as the investor? What are you looking to do? What are you looking to achieve? What's the time frame look like? What cash flow you're comfortable with? looking at all of these things, and then we take that information, we go out and we find the right property for you that fits that. And again, we don't just look in one specific market, we look across the country. There's over 15,000 suburbs in the country, and we narrow it down to an area and a location that suits your specific circumstances. Once we've done that, we negotiate the best price possible, ideally making you money on the way in. So you're making money just by buying the property at a great price. We help you with all the due diligence, building and pest. If you need finance, you need an accountant. We've got all that in the background, all the way to actually finding a tenant to place in the property through our property manager connection. So it's a full done for you service. So if you're sick of strolling through realestate.com, you're sick of agents not getting back to you, maybe you've done a property course and you still have questions, you still need answers. We do this every single week. Everyone that works here is a property investor. We are not looking to be the biggest buyer's agent in the country. I don't care for these high volume BAs. I actually think it's unethical in many ways because you overinflate markets. And if you've got 100 clients coming through a month, how do you make sure that every single one of them is getting a tailor-made plan? Because you're going to have to hire people and a lot of people to manage that. And we aim to be the best buyer's agent, quality buyer's agent. Multiple clients come back to do more deals and buy more properties because we just deliver. We get the job done. There's no smoke and mirrors here. It's what you see is what you get. It's the real deal. And if you want to make that happen, you want to get into the market, reach out. The links are in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or wherever else, give us a buzz, 0452046274. That'll come directly to us to give you an idea of what we do. Or hit us up on social media. We've got YouTube videos pumping out. We've got Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the rest of it. Hope you got some value out of that. There's definitely some takeaways from that. So if you got any questions, comments, leave them below. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Catch you soon.